You know the feeling. You're holding your phone up to the sky, wandering around the room, desperate to catch one bar of a Wi-Fi signal. Faith operates a lot like that invisible network. You can't see the signal itself, but it is the power that connects you to what you need. Without that connection, a relationship with God stays offline. For thousands of years, people have demanded to see the signal before they commit to connecting. Ancient crowds wanted to see the Red Sea split or bread fall from the sky. Even today, we often catch ourselves asking for a massive, undeniable miracle just to prove the network is real. In the Bible, when people demanded a sign from Jesus, he actually sighed deeply. He knew a magic trick wouldn't build real trust. What we actually need isn't a spectacular show, but a steady, everyday walk together. If we have the Bible, we already hold the lock-in credentials in our hands. We have the history and the promises. We don't need a new sign to prove God is there. We just have to make the choice to connect. Sometimes that connection gets static, and that is completely normal. Think of faith less like a perfect piece of technology and more like a garden. If weeds of doubt pop up or the weather turns harsh, it doesn't mean the ground is ruined. It just needs care. There is a story about a father who came to Jesus and admitted, "Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief." He was honest about his weak signal. Jesus didn't turn him away. He accepted his trust and worked with it. Jesus once compared faith to a tiny mustard seed. The seed itself is incredibly small, but planting it is a deliberate decision. Feelings change like the weather, but a solid decision to plant that seed is what eventually moves mountains. Faith is choosing to trust God even when the sky is dark. It's an active response to the kindness he has already shown us, rather than waiting for a comfortable emotion to tell us what to do. Let's zoom out to look at the big picture. The book of Hebrews defines faith as the evidence of things we cannot see. At the very start of our history is the creation of the world. None of us were there to witness it. We accept that invisible past event entirely by trusting the one who set it all in motion. Looking to the future, we rely on that exact same trust. Faith becomes the substance of what we hope for, the promised return of Christ, an event we haven't seen yet. The entire Bible is built between these two massive events. Faith is the bridge that spans the gap, connecting where we came from to exactly where we are going. Standing in the middle of that timeline was a man named Abraham. He was old and his circumstances looked impossible, but he chose to rely on God's promise that he would have a massive family. To understand how unique Abraham's trust was, look at how the cultures around him viewed God. This ancient Egyptian papyrus shows a heart being weighed on a scale. Most people back then believed you had to earn your way to God by making sure your good deeds were heavy enough to balance the scale. But the Bible says God doesn't use a scale for our deeds. Instead, he offers us what it calls the faith of Jesus. This means that when our own signal is too weak, Jesus shares his own perfect trust with us, covering our doubts with his strength. When we stop trying to tip the scales and simply rely on Jesus, God treats us as if we are already perfect. He calls this being righteous, which is just a way of saying we are finally in a right, healthy relationship with him. There is an old story about a wealthy, miserable king who searched the world for happiness. He finally found a man singing joyfully in the woods, only to discover the man owned absolutely nothing except the shirt on his back. The king realized that peace wasn't something he could buy or manufacture from the inside. It was a gift that came from a right relationship with the world. Faith works the same way. It's not a feeling we whip up, but a gift God gives us to help us connect with him. So if your trust feels as small as a mustard seed today, or if you're wrestling with doubt, don't walk away. The size of your faith matters less than who you are leaning on. When you feel helpless, lean entirely on Jesus. As you reflect on this, consider these 3 questions. 1. What does it mean to have true, humble faith in God? 2. What does such humble faith look like in your daily life? And 3. How does faith play a role in your battles against doubt right now? Take a moment to write down your answers and share them with someone. Your story of growing faith might be the signal boost someone else needs to hear today.